Welcome to Guelph Fight Wrestler. I am Andrew Sennedra, and this is Captain Witchfingers, and today we're talking about Wrestle Dynasty. One hell of a night that we just finished watching. Kicked off with a bang, but we'll be working our way backwards with the title fight, the title match was Zack Sabre Jr. Back-to-back nights for him, headlining shows, and this one he was facing off against Ricochet. Ricochet comes out like a house of fire, landing all kinds of hot shots, aerial moves, keeping the pace really intense right off the bat. Then Zack gets to pull it in, go all methodical, classic Zack style strikes from funny angles, well, a lot of like grips and holds, submissions, different things, slows him down, ends up twisting Ricochet like a pretzel several times throughout the match, and that's actually kind of how he ended it. It really surprised me. I was just sitting there, next thing you know, it's over. I'm like, whoa, well that was out of nowhere. But Ricochet landed some really good stuff in the match. Great ultra combo. He had some pair of banger suplexes, as I called them, that really looked pretty violent in this match.
Zack Sabre also has some cool transition, like Zack there from the top into like a pin, into like a armbar, into like another submission. So he just like goes from like one submission to another. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And then Ricochet looked like he had like a cool finisher move where he the guy's like on his knees, and then finish him comes up and he does like that devastating axe kick. It's like
oh yeah, I called it the head bonker. It was pretty gnarly. You could really hear it slap.
It does here next. Oh my God! That's killer instinct, folks. And he has it. That's a new man. Oh my God! Heavyweight champion.
Yeah, so it's one hell of a main event. I think we both agreed that that one was better than Wrestle Kingdom's main event. High paced, a lot of really intricate stuff going on, and worked really well between kind of like a submission guy versus more of a high paced aerial guy. So they did really well. I'm glad Zack won with his surprise finish. Finishing off a main event like that with a submission. We don't see that too often. Now we're moving on to probably one of the best matches of the year that we just started the year off with already, Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd. This one built quite a bit, and you could really feel the storytelling. This one really transcended the screen for me. It felt real as hell, the intensity between both guys. Not just like in their faces, but they were swearing. You could feel their animosity between one another. Omega had so many big moments. Well, they both had big moments. Big, whether it was even their striking was big. They were hitting each other, you could really feel that. Omega showing off, still showing his speed and explosivity. I felt were still intact. There was a very scary powerbomb. I think he didn't even realize his own strength because he hadn't been in the ring so long. He tossed Gabe over the one table of two, which was pretty gnarly. And then we get a scary flyboy, following that. Kenny just again shooting so far. He's like, oh, I didn't realize his own power. He's overshooting everything.
There are many who agree with you, Chris. I agree. This is part of the situation. This is part of the sport. Oh no, watch Kenny! Oh God!
I think it's interesting that the start of the match, it was like an MMA style fight. They're punching, kicking, dodging, weaving. Yeah. It's like you don't quite see that in a wrestling style match. It's like so these two, they had beef, right? They don't want to grapple up, they still want to start throwing fists, trying to knock each other out, kind of thing, right? And then obviously you see Omega kind of descend into madness, where he went flying outside, it hurt his hip really hard. He's like, give me some ice, young boys, young lions, give me some ice. He's like, you're taking too long. He's like booting them.
Oh, poor Sho Makato finally grew his hair back, and Kenny's kicking him. But yeah, I agree. You definitely feel the animosity and showcase it right off the bat with the punching. And you could hear some of them. They definitely, obviously don't want full bore, closed fist, trying to deck each other. But, it would still be, you definitely feel a lot, very similar probably to the slaps they landed. You could definitely tell that those were loud, and they could certainly feel them. They were pretty reddened up. Well, reddened up in a few ways, not just from the slaps, but holy crap, they got bloody, as you'll probably see in our highlights. I really felt like, I agree with you, is like, brutality is just unhinged with tables and chairs, and I felt like that kind of sent Kenny into, you said descent of madness, I say gradual, rise to sadisticness is where Kenny got, the cleaners started to come out, that Albert Wesker craziness, the crazy eyes going, and we got a lot of like intense tables, breaking. I mentioned the power bomb, the chairs, whacking each other with chairs pretty violently. So we got this rise, this crucible building from these guys, which was just really intense. Kenny testing some stuff out. To a certain degree, the top rope dragon suplex, that one was pretty dicey. There was a vicious V trigger. It was just really back and forth, and you could feel a lot. Like I said, as it transcended the screen for sure, we felt quite a bit. And I think at the same time, even though Gabe Kidd lost ultimately, he was really made. You felt a lot of the crowd being behind it. The commentators were arguing over it. I feel like Gabe Kidd ascended, and David Finley's performances sent him back. So, I think Gabe Kidd is like, I had him above him already, but I think like, this really made him. So it's really crazy to think like the Bullet Club leader is kind of falling below, and the other guy, the underdog, or the underleader, or whatever you want to call him, is ascending higher than him.
Yeah, it felt like it really told like a story in this match. Like when they got the chair, they're drilling each other. You feel like the anger in their eyes. Like screw you, I'm gonna smoke you, trying to kill you. And then Gabe Kidd, like he went on a rampage, give a bunch of power drivers, mini power drivers. It's like die Omega, die!
Trying to kill fucking power drivers.
Time, Kenny Omega. Oh, and a
And the finish, I know we were kind of discussing, like, is he going to kick out the one-wing angel?
Yeah.
I think you mentioned, like, it'd be cool if he did. And, like, I thought Omega was going to win, and he kind of threw me off. But at the end, he didn't kick out, and Omega got the win.
Yeah, you never know. Like, is Kenny going to push him over entirely, and he's going to kick out of the one-winged angel? Only one man ever do that, Kota Ibushi. So, and one thing I was thinking of is this told more than just one story between these two. It told like a Bullet Club story at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Right? And even a bit of a story between AEW and New Japan, the way the commentators were going. Yeah. There was like several layers of this. It was kind of ridiculous. It was almost like, a really deep comic.
It was almost like he transitioned from like a bad guy to a good guy. Like, they had the War Dogs outside. They had so many opportunities to cheat. They didn't cheat. Yeah. He pulled down his pants. And he sees like the New Japan Wrestling logos. And then like the commentator went crazy. He's like, oh my god,
And he even made Tanahashi cry at the end. He was so proud of Gabe Kidd's performance. It's like, oh, this is definitely something unique there. Okay, we've talked about that match quite a bit. We're moving on to Yota Tsuji versus Jack Perry. This one was pretty interesting. I liked a bit of the background to this. Like, I feel like it's ultimately a gateway for Yota Tsuji to get to Okada, and that's why Jack Perry is in this. He's a transition for him to get there. I felt like it was a slick beginning. Tsuji had some nice bursts of power and furies, a lot of his standard, landing his stuff. Jack Perry, I felt like showed up a little bit more, did some more stuff in there. He had like, what did I call it? Like a nice knee back stabber that he did, and then flew into like immediately like a German suplex afterwards. So he showed some nice new flavors in there. I think he also had something, what did I call it? The wrist clutch DVD. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, it was the wrist clutch DVD that he pulled off, or the Death Valley Driver, I should say.
The scapegoat, he had a wicked entrance. He'd have this like giant scythe. He's gonna reap Tsuji, to take him out.
You can't just cut his head off.
I was like massive. I was like, man, this guy's going a warpath. It's go time. I thought it's funny. He did like a toupee. And then, like, usually the guy's like standing waiting to defend. He like turns around, so he goes flying toupee like back on his head. He's like, oh,
toupee. I was like, toupee? What toupee?
Toupee suicide.
This one also had a surprise ending too. Like out of nowhere, Tsuji just lands the G blast. So it was a flash ending. Like, usually it's kind of set up more, right? So it was kind of just bang, bang, finish. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's one of those edge of your seat types of matches for the most part, especially the ending. Now we're moving on to the IWGP Tag Team titles. We got Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb versus the Young Bucks versus Hiromu and Tetsuya Naito in a three-way sort of tornado tag match. Really exciting. A lot of high pace there. Young Bucks calling plenty of shots and showing off some flash. Really arrogant stuff. Really cocky. It was quite humorous how much they were, jaw jacking and talking during the match. And Cobb was kind of returning it. Jeff was, returning some of that stuff, which was pretty funny. Him being as flashy as well was pretty interesting. Doing some of Tetsuya Naito's moves and Los Ingobernables things. I think Jeff Cobb probably had the best performance out of the match. He's had a back-to-back really good nights in my opinion out of all the matches. The flow I felt like was crazy. It was really just non-stop action. There wasn't a lot of like slow spots or anything like that. No hiccups, which I thought was really good. Kept you on your seat.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Young Bucks, I think they're hilarious, like you mentioned. They're like, let's do something awesome!
Oh, yeah.
And then, Jackson, springboards, like, gives him a drop kick. It's like, whoa, man.
They sound like kids. Let's do something awesome.
I think everybody kind of got their own spots, and the Young Bucks, they show off all their cool tag team moves.
Yeah, and ultimately they won the tag titles again, which kind of made sense considering who was in it. I didn't think Great O'Khan and Cobb would win it. Naito and Hiromu were kind of in their last minute, so the Bucks got the titles again. Holy crap!
It's funny, Matt Jackson came out with beads, and somewhere along the lines he lost the beads.
I don't know, they're beads. Pearls. They might have been fake pearls, but yeah, somewhere like I don't know if he took them off or they broke off, but they disappeared. The next match was just an absolute slugfest for poor Takeshita. Back-to-back nights versus these two hard and tough dudes. He's got to go up against the goddamn bowling ball, Tomohiro Ishii. This was like another tough match for him. Just really nice flow, a lot of hard hitting, but there's a lot of other stuff. Tomohiro, for 49 years old or whatever, moves so well and is able to, like, he showed off Hurricane off the top. Like, where the hell did that come from? I don't know if I've ever actually seen him do that. He might have done it in his youth, but I never saw that. Some great, powerful striking, a lot of smooth dodges and things like that were in there, and some really cool counters as well during the match.
Yeah, this is a hard match. Like, I remember, like, Takeshita kept, throwing Ishii on his head.
Oh, yeah.
Ishii got pissed off, throwing Takeshita on his head. I'm like, man, how did these, guys get up? They're, laying on the back of their necks or their heads.
Ishii makes sense. He's got that huge melon. He can just handle it. And then, the Japanese, they what is that? It's kind of like Roderick Strong. They, callous their back. It's like, you harden your back. These guys harden their necks.
Yeah, so Ishii no-sold his combos. He gave him a driver and into a wheelbarrow suplex.
Yeah.
And then he just kissed back off him. Like, what the hell? His head's made of steel or iron or bowling ball or something. He just
He good. I didn't know the name. They called it the Bastard Driver.
Nah, I don't know, man.
But I also liked the Takeshita's deadlift Falcon Arrow. That was pretty badass.
Yeah, that was impressive.
We thought Ishii was going for the suplex off the top turnbuckle, and then I just heard I was like, what is that? And then next thing you know, Takeshita Falcon arrows his ass off the top. I was like, oh, deadlift him from that position, no leverage. That was just all arm. There's not much leverage there. You can't use your legs, right? So I was like, holy crap, Takeshita's showing off that power. This guy is just amazing, a combination of athleticism, strength, cardio, everything. Dude's uncanny. And he ended up winning, which was pretty great. He's still the two-title dude. Pretty badass.
Well deserved.
Yeah. And the next match we're going to be talking about is Brody King versus David Finlay, which kind of came out of nowhere. There was no build to this. There was no... I don't know where this happened. It was just Brody King's like, I'm coming over to fight somebody. And he's like, I got to fight David Finlay, who kind of showed up with a bit more in this match, which I thought was crazy, considering the other match was Wrestle Kingdom and for his belt. But this one, he's jumping outside of the ring from the top turnbuckle. He's doing these dives. He's, a higher pace for the most part in the match. I just thought it was kind of weird to see him showing up a bit more for this match and not as, like what I said yesterday, is the sort of laid out plan that he would normally do.
Yeah, this is a physical match, he's slamming him, smacking him because Brandon Browning's a big guy. And then like I didn't think he would be able to do too much Finley because like he's a heavy guy.
Yeah.
But then I was surprised he was able to pick him up with that powerbomb. I was like,
Yeah.
holy crap! He actually got him up, and then he like finished him with that suplex into like that knee.
Yeah, well, not into Oblivion.
Couldn't give out.
Yeah, but yeah, that was 285 pounds or whatever of a power bomb. But yeah, I definitely agree. There were several car crashes, on the outside and things like that. But yeah, it's kind of weird. I just thought it was like interesting that this match was. Finley showed out a little bit, but whatever. That's just our thoughts. Well, we want to quickly mention how the gauntlet match was really fun and exciting between the eight guys, 4 CMLL and 4 New Japan. Really cool. A lot of different guys showed up to do some wild stuff. Mascara Dorado. He had some really cool moments. Sobrano Jr. I remember crushed Kosei Fujita's head by accident while Hachicero had him in like sort of Mexican surfboard type of thing. There was a lot of really cool things that happened in that match, really exciting pace. Taji Ishimori had some moments, surprise win out of nowhere. They killed El Desperado. Everyone took their shot. All 7 guys just slamming him around, beating him up. I was like, holy crap, it was just a funny, exciting match all the way around.
Yeah, I think it's a fun match to watch. It's like it's hilarious when El Desperado's music hits. They all stop, they all stare at him, and El Desperado's like, walking up, and then he's like, wait a second, why are they all like looking at me? And everybody's like, wants the belt.
Yeah.
And then he's like, hold a second. And then they all like book out and start attacking. He's like, oh crap, I don't want to run.
And then they drag him into the ring and beat him up. I was like, oh man, I wonder if that's going to set the tone for something.
Yeah, like they all like give him their finisher or like give him a big move, one after the other. He's like, oh man, he's like so dead.
Yeah. I'm curious if this is going to turn into like El Desperado's going to be like, stupid Master Wado, you're like one of the few guys that is left. And I'm going to kick your ass for that. But yeah, I just thought it was funny when you see Hechicero doing the belt sign, and it was like, I'm like, you're huge. You don't qualify for the junior title. So it was a really fun match just to watch. Just some stuff I don't think we ever saw before. So it's going to be interesting to see a couple of those young luchadors in the future and see how they evolve. But they're really exciting, kind of like up and coming Tetons or Commanders.
Yeah, I see some like CMLL guys, they're like flipping, they're jumping on the ropes. I'm like, man, these are nuts.
Yeah, really exciting stuff, but quite a night Wrestle Dynasty was. So going off our grade, we got good, great, awesome, amazing, spectacular, and fantastic. Where do you got it ranked?
I really enjoyed it, so I'm gonna be just below fantastic, so spectacular.
That's where I was gonna put it because I'm like it was moving up and easily, Gabe Kidd and Omega and the main event there easily shot it up into the spectacular zone. I think probably maybe Brody and Finley and Shota and Claudio were like maybe a bit better or something. It could have moved it into the Fantastique, but including the Gauntlet match. Yeah, we were close. We're kind of sticklers though. Yeah. We don't have too many of that Fantastiques.
Went off.
But back-to-back nights, we have the exact same grade. We didn't even talk about it. We didn't even know. Oops, I threw my paper at him. Anyways, let us know what you think of Wrestle Dynasty down in the comments below. We really enjoyed it. Hope you guys did too. And until next time, folks, how about some heavy wrestling?